Lynch, and what we're discussing right now is a question that's on the minds of many Christchurch people. Where is our stadium? And today I have the pleasure of blaming Leeann Watson from the Canterbury Employers Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, nice to see you.
Good morning, Chris.
It is a question that gets asked so many times. What is the answer?
Well, first of all, you can't blame me because actually all we have to be able to do is actually advocate and influence people to make the right decisions, and we're doing what we can in that space because actually you're quite right. The stadium has been delayed and has been obviously delayed for a couple of years now. We were up to what I understand is that there is an investment case being put together by council and government, or the council are basically putting the investment case to the Crown. Now, what I understand is there is a funding shortfall, and you would have seen something come out a couple of weeks ago around that. So there is going to be some challenges around how we bridge that funding shortfall, but it's really important that we explore all opportunities and all funding models to actually make it work.
How frustrated are members of the business community, and let's remember they too are residents of Christchurch, when it comes to just the absolute sense of nothingness in this city when it comes to a stadium?
Yeah, look, the stadium's really important, and we've talked about this many times. That, if you look at some of the that not only the economic contributions that stadiums, around the rest of New Zealand bring, but also the flow-on impact across the whole community, retaining our young people, supporting the bars and the restaurants and the retailers, the taxi companies, the hotels, the motels, the massive contribution that stadiums bring when we host, international sporting fixtures, when we actually host, concerts, those sorts of things, which we haven't had for many years in the city. I mean, we look at, I think the last one was Phil Collins, I think, that we had at the temporary stadium, and that was a massive, contribution that it made to the city. So the businesses in this city are absolutely relying on a stadium to be delivered, and as soon as possible, but also our wider residents.
It is very interesting that the City Council has had to come up with a business case, because the reality is that stadiums don't make money, do they? Mm-hmm. So do you think their business case has to look at the so-called economic and social well-being as part of the case to try and get this across the line? Because it's still not a foregone conclusion. The government could turn around and say, that looks nice, but you haven't sold us the idea that it's going to make money, because the reality is they don't make money. Yeah,
look, my understanding is that the government, the council and the government are committed to making this happen. I really do believe that it will happen. The investment case is around making sure that the money that the Crown put into this is well supported by a strong investment case. So, it is important for that investment case to be robust and solid. However, that investment case was due in July, and we're now sitting here in November. And the longer we delay things, the longer the impact is on the wider business community, and also the more it's going to cost. So I think we have to look at what's lost opportunity cost? So rather than actually trying to look at ways that we can either, reduce the cost of the actual stadium, which I think is pretty unrealistic, how can we look at how we can make it work? So, we've got some real challenges, but we've got to get on and do this.
Some of the comments have been that it's costing $1 million a month. Mm. I don't know if that's lost productivity or just the escalating construction costs. Do you think it's about right? Well,
I think that figure has been pulled together by the cost of commercial sort of tenders in the city. They're rising about 2.3% per year. So I think what they've actually done is they've extrapolated out, obviously, the rising construction costs with the ongoing delays. And, that's a significant amount of money. The longer we delay this, the more it's going to cost us, the bigger the gap's going to get. So now I do understand that there is some work being done in parallel to the investment case being put together, so that, when the case gets approved and when we hit the go button, there is actually some work being done now, such as, ground remediation work and those sorts of things.
Oh, well, you'd hope so.
Well, yeah.
Because seriously, although where the stadium's going to be, I haven't seen a lot of work happening there. Yeah,
I think a lot of it is obviously stuff that you can't necessarily see happening because it is stuff underground as opposed to coming out of the ground. But that's really important that that is happening. And look, I've certainly heard that is underway. So let's hope that is the case. I think one of the other things that we need to look at is making sure that we've got the right people around this project. Making sure that we've got a really competent professional governance structure to drive this project forward. And so that may very well be one of the things that we need to look at doing differently.
I'm going to put myself on the line here, because I just hope this governance structure is a bunch of new people, a bunch of new ideologists that haven't been involved in rebuilding or anchor projects, or the chairman of this and that, or regenerate that, or let's have some new blood. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's been so much failure. There's been so much failure with the rebuild. Wouldn't it be nice to have some new faces that are responsible for the governance of this whole project? Not the same old, I won't name, not the same old cast of board of directors that sit on so many council or so many rebuild agencies, because they've proved that they're useless.
Yeah, look, I think there is an opportunity to look at bringing in some fresh thinking and some new perspectives.
Let's get Nellie on board. She's good.
I think Nellie would be fantastic.
She gets things done.
Absolutely. I think we also need to remember, that there is some accountability required here, but actually there's a big difference between holding someone accountable and providing good progress and actually driving forward. So I think there is an opportunity to look at how we put those right performance measures in place to make sure that the government's investment in this project is being well managed. But I think we can actually do that with some new thinking. As I said, a really competent professional governance structure that will enable us to take it forward. Let's
make sure nobody from Regenerate Christchurch is on the governance structure, and let's make sure nobody on the cathedral rebuild is on the governance structure, and then that will give us some hope. Just only got 10 seconds. When do you think we're going to start seeing a wheelbarrow, somebody digging in the ground? Seriously?
Look, I mean, once that investment case is, goes to cabinet, I believe before Christmas. So let's put a stake in the ground and say 1st of January.
Good. I like the sound of that. Leeann Watson, like the sound of you too. Thanks for joining us on the program this morning. That is our show. Thank you so much. Thank you.